All right. What do you want to talk about next, Mr. Luke?
What's the wheel? Tell me what the wheel.
Let's do the Wheel of Pain. I don't know if this is going to be a regular segment. I don't know if we're going to come up with like different segments or whatever else. But basically, I asked for a wheel and I pitched kind of a fun idea for the show today. We're going to play a game called Devil's Advocate.
Okay. I feel like that's just how the show works.
No, but this way is a little different. Okay? So
I still can't read.
you are going to spin the wheel.
Okay.
And
I'm already excited.
whatever boneheaded thing that happened in the world of tech this week. Oh, apparently I'm supposed to spin the wheel. Okay. I will spin the wheel.
I'm not excited anymore.
Well, let's take turns.
Okay.
We each get to spin the wheel.
Beautiful.
All right. So whatever boneheaded thing happened in the world of tech,
Okay.
you have to defend it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. So the topic list for this week
Oh, so are these topics?
Yes.
Is
is Twitter's ban on third-party apps,
okay.
Apple TV's terms of service requiring a separate iOS device to accept them,
Okay.
Samsung's attempt to use patents to block refurbished screen imports, AI art generators. But I feel like we should rule out AI art generators just because we've already talked about it on the show. So if it lands on that, we'll spin again.
Yeah.
And Wyoming's bill that was introduced to phase out EV sales by 2035.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, do you want to go first or should I go
so
first?
wait, what happens if is the spinner defending it?
The spinner will defend whatever topic comes up
Okay.
on the Wheel of Pain.
I don't care who goes first.
Okay,
Whatever works.
go for it.
Okay. Either way, right?
Yeah, I
Doesn't
don't
matter.
think it... Wow, really? That's your spin? That's
No,
weak. No, what? You can't spin it again!
I didn't see what it was, so it doesn't matter.
Well, they did. You must Oh, no.
What is it?
Oh, no. You must defend Twitter banning third-party apps. I feel like I should run through... So here's how we'll do it. Sorry, guys. This is our first time doing it.
We should talk about the topic.
I will run through the topic,
Okay.
and then
okay.
you
Nice.
will defend it.
Yeah, I like it.
Last Thursday, all or nearly all third-party Twitter apps broke. The same day, a clause was quietly added to its developer agreement banning the creation of a substitute or similar service to the Twitter application. So, in effect, I don't even remember some of the names of third-party Twitter clients that I've used in the past, but I have used them.
Hootsuite.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. In effect, tools like Hootsuite, or no, there used to be like, okay, for example, on Windows Phone, there wasn't a first-party Twitter client. There was like a third-party one that just hooked into the API and made it, it wasn't great, but it was usable. After a long silence, Twitter has announced that it was simply enforcing its long-standing API rules, which may result in some apps not working. Twitter has not responded to any questions about which long-standing rules were broken.
Well, they don't have a PR department.
Questions that were posed by prominent members of the tech community, like our friend over at MKBHD, one Marquez Keith Brownlee in high definition. In 2021, Twitter had actually removed a clause discouraging but not banning third-party apps as a way of building a warmer relationship with these developers. In other news, Twitter is now being sued by a consulting firm claiming that it has not been paid for services rendered to Twitter during its lawsuit to force Musk to follow through on his purchase of the company. That's really funny. Okay, we'll talk about that more later. That's really, really funny. Anyway, okay.
I think
Defend.
you still have. Isn't there one more thing?
Nope.
Oh, that's just not very interesting. No. Okay. Twitter is going through a refacing right now. It has a new CEO. It has a lot of new employees. It has a lot less total employees.
Does it have a lot of new employees?
I believe so. Didn't they? Aren't they hiring?
Twitter?
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Didn't they let go like 75% of their workforce?
Yeah, and I think they're also hiring.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got new
Both can
employees.
be true.
Okay, what does that
They
have
have
to do
some
with
new
anything?
employees.
Oh yeah, did I mention that the other person is allowed to poke holes in your defense the whole time?
Sure, yeah. I haven't made one yet. So
Okay.
maybe you can sit the F down. This is gonna be so hard.
No, you have to be
Okay.
straight-faced. You're not allowed to acknowledge it.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they have a new face, and they need to be able to control their image, because their
Okay.
image matters, right? And having all these third-party apps running around, making custom experiences that are different to what they are trying to tailor make for their audience could be bad for the platform. And they should enforce various rules that they have. You shouldn't just set rules and then not enforce them. It can be frustrating to be on a platform where the rules are really loosey-goosey and they get applied to some people in a certain way and other people in a certain way. It's a lot easier if it's very clear what you can and cannot do. So if rules exist,
Okay.
they should be enforced.
No. I have to stop you right there because it's obviously not clear what the rules
So they're
are.
trying to make it clear.
They're not trying to make it clear. They're not responding
Oh, they don't have a PR department.
when people.
But that's not part of the debate, so it's okay.
No, that is not okay because a key foundational piece of your argument is that they are trying to improve the clarity of their rules
Yeah, by enforcing them.
by enforcing them. But if no one can figure out what rules are being violated, then they obviously aren't clear enough.
Oh, just don't make third-party apps.
Just don't make third-party apps. That's not a defense of it. That's the conclusion of it.
Yeah, but that's okay.
So you're just saying it's okay.
Yeah, just don't make third-party apps.
Fundamentally, that's all you got.
What? I think it's fine. Twitter doesn't want you to make third-party apps, so don't make third-party apps. It seems pretty clear to me. I don't see why they would need a PR department, because the answer is very obvious. Don't make third-party apps.
I see. And just to kind of bring us back a little bit to your argument that Twitter is concerned about the image that it presents to the rest of the world.
Of course.
And the damage that third-party apps could do to it. I mean, do I even have to explain how wrong that is? Twitter is doing all...
They're trying to release
Twitter's-
new features. They're trying to release new functionality. And if these third-party apps don't support those features and functionality, then those aren't going to get to the users. The image, the way that people interpret and use Twitter could be deeply affected by these third-party apps not responding and reflecting the experience that Twitter is trying to create for its users. So maybe they just shouldn't exist. And if it follows the rules to get rid of them, well, they should get rid of them because they should enforce their rules.
I see. So if your goal in life is to have your product be as much of a dumpster fire as possible, then you are well within your rights to ensure that every user who interacts with it experiences the full dumpster fire.
I wouldn't word it that way, but they are fully within their rights, correct?
Okay. Your argument boils down to legally they're within their rights.
That is a true state. I, again, wouldn't word it that way, but that is a true statement. Again, they're creating new features. I believe there's. I'm not super familiar with Twitter features, but I believe there's new home feed. I believe there's new feeds in your home. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know Twitter features very well. But if the third-party apps don't reflect that, and that's a big thing that they want to push because they have this massive wave of new users, so clearly they're doing something right. And their servers have not gone down, despite everyone saying that they would. They want to push Twitter in a new direction, and you don't want third-party people controlling what direction your platform is able to go in,
Okay.
which they're able to do. Imagine you were releasing videos,
All right,
and you
all
started
right.
releasing a new type of video, but some third-party thing was just like, we're just not going to release that type of video whenever they release it. Would that annoy you as a video creator?
But what about user choice?
Would it annoy you as a video creator?
As a video creator, if someone created a curated feed of my videos...
If you started making
No,
a new type
and that's
of
the
content,
reason. No, and that's the reason that Twitter has engaged with these third-party apps over the course of their entire history, is because overall they benefit from a broader ecosystem compared to a closed, more narrow one.
if you were using Twitch
Sure.
and you make a fixed, say Twitch does more things than it does. Say Twitch actually was successful when they tried to do VODs.
Sure.
Shots fired. And you started releasing a new type of review content. And it's compatible with Twitch, but Twitch just decides to not upgrade. I don't know. Say it's like AV1 or something.
Sure.
And Twitch doesn't update. So a bunch of users on Twitch are now unable to view those videos. But you've curated a massive user base on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
that sees your standard content. So now you have these weird segmented content feeds.
Yeah.
You have some stuff that's going on YouTube
Yeah,
and other stuff that can't go on Twitch.
Yeah, and if that
because they're refusing to update their platform.
and if that third party platform doesn't update, then obviously they're going to shed users through
Are
natural
they?
attrition.
You can't communicate to those users directly about this. Communication to those users is controlled by that platform. Why is this a good thing for you? There's no benefit.
The benefit
So
is
kill all third-party apps.
Okay.
So you can actually control feature functionality.
All right. So the last new rule I'm going to add to this segment is that we're going to have to add a time limit because that took too long.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And 2, our adjudicator will be Dan. So Dan, can you give Luke a rating out of 10 for his defense of Twitter just cutting off third-party apps?
I don't know. That did seem pretty weak. I'm probably going to give you a 3 out of 10 because they're legally allowed to do it. Like, no, that's kind of weak. I don't
That
know.
wasn't my argument. That's because I
Well,
said
if
he
your
worded
argument
it
wasn't
wrong.
clear, then it's still a 3 out of 10 defense.
Okay, I need to make sure that I just completely. Oh, you do the thing that you don't like.
Oh.
What did I do?
I need to shadow ban Linus.
What did I do?
It just wasn't my argument, and then you said that it was.
No, I
Which
didn't
is what
say it
you
was.
hate. Yeah, you did.
When? Just
That's
now
what-
that Dan said it.
He regurgitated what you said.
Well, that was the argument you were making at
No,
the
it
time.
wasn't.
Fine.
That was when I was paying attention.
I was saying if they're going to have rules, they should enforce them. I wasn't saying that it's legally within their rights.
Yeah, but they don't. They haven't made these rules clear. They don't seem to have them. You can If they had these rules, then they should reply and say what the rules are. But it's clear that they don't want anyone to know what the rules are because then they might be able to adjust their third-party apps to adhere to the rules. But they don't
They just don't want third-party apps.
and that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But to say that they want clarity in their rules, that's a bad
I
argument.
didn't say they want clarity.
You did say
I said
that.
they want to enforce them.
This is going to be a great segment.
It's already great. I'm
I
already
don't-
angry.
I don't think I've seen him this
upset.
fired up in forever.
I can talk again. I got a lot of pent-up energy.
Okay, so, yeah, they don't want apps, right, Luke? But
Yeah.
why shouldn't they allow apps? If it dilutes their brand? Is it because
Yeah.
they're worse than what Twitter's making?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I mean, that's
Come on. Okay, Dan, you still have to rate it. We still have to move on. I get to spin
there's
the
a
wheel.
moving you up
There's a poll
4
who
out
won
of
the
10.
Twitter argument, and I'm winning
4 out of 10.
67% to
All right, you
33%.
managed to get an extra point. Are
I
you
got
happy?
an extra point.
4 out of 10.
I
I'm
hate
gonna
myself
burn
now.
this court to the ground.
All right.
Okay.
I'll put a timer and I'll make some things for next time.
Okay,
It'll
cool.
be fancy.
We should.
The real main reason for it, yes, it boils down to they simply don't want third-party apps. It has nothing to do with the rules. It has nothing to do with any kind of
What if the rule is that there's no third-party apps?
it has nothing to do with any well, that isn't though. It has nothing to do with any kind of benefit of having a smaller ecosystem other than that many third-party apps do not display ads. So Twitter is trying desperately to something. I don't know.
Well, is that not defendable? I feel like that would be easier to defend than what I just defended.
It could be, but
Because
I mean,
now you're fighting against your own argument.
sure, but you're also fighting against your own partners and your own users. Your partners, you have
But
a,
you're defending ad block.
so no.
Yeah.
What you
If
could
it doesn't send ads and it uses
No.
Twitter's service,
there's a correct way to update your API rules. The correct way is you give a
have
time
to
window
pass
for
through ads.
compliance and you create transparent, well-communicated rules. And those transparent, well-communicated rules include, hey, you have to display ads at the same rate that the original
unless they
Twitter app
just
does.
don't want
And then-
third-party apps at all.
Unless they just don't want third-party apps, which is, I mean, ultimately what you said, which is right, but it's not a defense. It's a statement of fact, but it's not a defense. It's still crappy. It's bad partnership. It's bad management. Now I get to play.
Sure.
All right. I'm only familiar with some of these
I don't
topics.
get a
So.
final statement.
Um,
Is it this?
oh, it's the AI art generators one. Okay, I'll try again.
Spin again.
Yeah, this is hard to spin. I shouldn't have made fun of your weak spin because
Because the
mine
monitor, the
wasn't
screens are in the way.
any better. Bloody hell, did I just get AI art generators again? Yeah, I did. Crying out loud. Okay, I'll give it a proper.
Just get away from the screens. Yeah. There you go.
There we go. Let's go! Okay. Oh, no.
What is it?
Samsung screen patent. Okay, Luke, tell us
Okay.
about it.
I gotta find it. One sec. Where is it? I guess I can control our
It's
Samsung.
in the dock. It's in the dock.
Hmm. For next time, in the section of Devil's Advocate, the topic list should be hyperlinked.
Yes. You know what? There's a lot of things that we could do better. We're just
It's a small thing. We're
we're trying stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
we wanna kind of try to, without losing track of what the WAN show is, we want to kind of try and find some novel ways to engage with these topics. Is basically the goal here. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I am actually. Like, man, he's getting fired up. I like it.
So this is the reason why I couldn't find it was this is the U.S. farmers win right to repair argument, or right to repair farm equipment, while Samsung undermines independent screen repair.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a bunch of posts in Floatplane chat that this isn't legit. We'll see
Oh,
through how this is written how legit that we say it is.
okay.
But people are saying that apparently this John Deere didn't actually do that, and Louis Rossman has a video about it.
Then I guess sure.
We'll see what the notes say, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess it'll be good feedback for our new notes creator.
Yeah. This month, John Deere signed a memorandum of understanding with the American Farm Bureau, an agricultural lobbyist. Oh, great. Acknowledging the American farmers' God-given right to fix their own equipment, including bringing it to independent repair facilities. The move follows years of efforts by John Deere to lock down its products, which make up over 50% of the U.S. tractors and combines market. Farmers have long reported huge delays during planting and harvest due to repair times. There is hope that this memorandum might act as a framework for future law, but similar to New York's recent right to repair legislation, these kinds of agreements are often riddled with caveats and loopholes. I do believe that's like the issue. Voluntary standards are not enforceable, and the language of the memorandum is vague.
Oh.
That's an issue.
Right, so... Oh, I'm not allowed to say anything.
In 2018, John Deere signed a similar agreement with the California Farm Bureau to limited effect, and John Deere has agreed to provide its repair tools for sale, as well as granting access to manuals, product guides, and diagnostic codes.
Okay.
Meanwhile, and I think this is the actual part that we're talking about, because
Yeah.
I think this just said Samsung,
Yeah,
right?
it did.
Okay. So, meanwhile, Samsung is now attempting to use an old OLED patent to get certain aftermarket and refurbished device screens banned from import into the United States. Thanks to buy_Mew, M-I-E-W, Mew, who posted a link to this on the LCT forum. This would restrict buyers from getting their phones repaired solely from the original vendor or licensed partners, which means the company can simply refuse to fix it. Samsung argues that this proposed ban is in part to protect consumers from inferior or defective products. Samsung has also added some tools and parts to its self-repair program with iFixit for Galaxy S22 phones and some Galaxy laptops. Some tools and parts. Who knows if it's all of them. There are still tons of devices that aren't covered, and the program appears to focus primarily on flagship products from the last 3 years, excluding easily broken foldables and popular budget models. The replacement screen for the Galaxy S22 lineup comes bundled with a replacement battery and frame. It is not available separately, and tons of other parts just aren't available at all. Do we do the discussion topics when we do these things?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay, I get to go now?
Yes.
I think this one is actually pretty simple to defend. And the reason for that
Nice essay intro.
is that, well, I'm buying time, obviously.
I know.
Okay, the reason for that is that as you made an argument for very recently, actually, I am Samsung, right? So I'm taking on the role of Samsung. So I am well within my right to defend my patent. If someone has a problem with my patent and thinks that for whatever reason they should be able to import their own inferior or knockoff products that violate it, well, then the correct legal process for them to go through...
Is this defending a patent? It didn't say anything about defending a patent.
Yeah. They're using their OLED patent to get aftermarket and refurbished device screens banned from import into the U.S.
Okay.
And so if I hold a patent on these devices, well, at the end of the day, I have to defend my patent. And besides, there should be no reason that a user who purchased an authentic Samsung device made up out of completely authentic Samsung parts should want an inferior part. Why would they? If they wanted an inferior part, well, then they could...
It's irrelevant what they want, though.
Well, then they could go buy something from some other vendor.
You shouldn't be deciding what the user wants.
Well, I know what they want because they bought a Samsung phone.
You still don't get to decide what they want.
But they
though.
didn't want to compromise on quality in the first place, so why would they want to now?
Maybe their opinion has changed. You don't get to decide that their opinion or stance on things changes.
Phones are also extremely...
You don't own your users. You just own your patent.
Phones are extremely intricate devices. They are complex. They are difficult to repair. And here's the thing.
I don't believe that the difficulty of repair should actually judge anything.
Our entire lives are essentially tied to our phones. We run off of our phones. And so if there is a risk that the user could, thinking that they are getting a Samsung part, not ultimately get a brand new, authentic, fully functioning Samsung part, they could actually
Was
end
that
up
part
in
of the argument either? I don't think there's any duping the users about it being a Samsung part.
I would make the argument that the duping does not necessarily have to be done by the manufacturer of the part. I think that
like repair shops selling it as genuine?
As soon as you make these janky parts available to budget repair shops, I think it is as likely that these repair shops will pass along the discount as it is that these repair shops will misrepresent the product as a genuine Samsung product. That creates a tarnish on the Samsung brand when users ultimately start to perceive Samsung as less performant and less reliable. Okay, the other bit, and this is really important, is that sure, you can attack the limited devices that we're providing our self-service repair and our parts for, but I think it's pretty clear that for these older devices, it probably doesn't make economic sense for people to go and repair them anyway, given that we have great new phones available like the A series, where you can get...
I don't think it's up to you to decide what is worth repairing and not worth repairing.
But I get to make my argument, right?
I'm also allowed to make counter arguments.
Okay, we have a great...
So I do believe that if you want to enforce this level of patent, that you should make available all parts needed to repair said phones. And I do believe that they should not have to be bundled. I don't think you should have to buy a frame for a phone when you actually just need to replace a screen.
Sure, but here's the issue with that. For us to build these products to a standard of quality that our customers expect, it's not economically viable. When the reality of it is, when we're mass producing them, we can deliver a great quality product like the A series that is functionally not even that much more expensive than if you were to just buy a display. Now you've got a brand new device with a great camera, great display.
As a part of your mass manufacturing, you can just create additional screens.
Brand new battery. Well, we don't have the line spun up for these old phones anymore. Why would we? We're not making them.
Create more in the first place.
But we didn't do that.
It is fairly... Well,
it's too late.
Commit to doing that in the future.
Well, we can talk about that in the future, but for now we haven't. As for foldables...
I think as a part, if you want to push this bill through...
Are you going to let me finish?
No. I am allowed to make counter arguments. I think if you want to push this through, we will have to make some form of agreement that you would over-manufacture parts in the future, as would be expected from a company that is going to service warranties anyways. By saying that you can fix these phones directly, you are saying that you have these parts on hand.
I'm not saying you can fix the phones. The average user is an idiot, and based on that, you don't seem to be understanding my argument. I think you might be one of them.
Don't even go there.
Finally,
you're saying that you can fix the phones, which means that you have the parts. So the argument of not having the part is completely useless.
But the costs are high.
Sure, but you're saying that you can fix the phone.
But there's storage
meaning
costs.
You have the part.
Right. And there's training costs.
So charge the users.
And we
that.
have to build the tools. We have to build the program for this. It's going to take time. Finally,
Actually, none of that makes any sense. There's no training cost to train users to fix their own phones.
oh, you have to create the program where they are trained to do it. Absolutely.
No, you don't.
Apple did it.
Do they charge people for it?
No, but you have to do it. It's a fixed cost associated with running the program. You absolutely
What
have to do
program?
it. A self-repair program.
Just sell it through iFixit.
Well, we are selling parts through iFixit.
Sell
just-
more and in individual components instead of packages.
It's going to take time. Besides, you got to understand, a lot of the sourcing for the components of a phone is not done individually. Like even at the factory. Okay.
Yeah, but you sell a screen as a component. It's going to have the connector cable. It's going to have everything else in.
Sure.
combined.
Look, you work for this channel, Linus Tech Tips or something like that, right?
Technically, no.
Okay, so they did. Maybe not anymore. Haven't fired Luke in a while. Okay, they did a video where they toured the factory of one of our competitors, where you could plainly see that on the factory floor, components are actually coming in as assemblies. Like we're not gonna take finished assemblies and then break them apart into their constituent components for these repair programs. At the very most, you could possibly expect we would provide the same assemblies that
Right
we
now,
use.
we're currently talking about a screen, correct?
Yeah, but a screen,
So a screen would be one unit at one point in time in that process, correct?
not necessarily. Because, I mean, you got to understand, like with global manufacturing, that screen factory that is creating the assemblies, that is not like a shipping endpoint for this supply chain. That goes to a factory as an assembly.
You can repair a phone.
Yes.
If I send you one of my
We will
Samsung
use an
phones-
assembly. We will
Okay.
use an assembly.
So sell an assembly.
Right. So, but I'm only talking about this because you told me not to sell assemblies.
I don't think I said anything about an assembly.
We'll let the audience be the judge of that.
The package that includes a frame and whatnot else, I don't think is the assembly that you're describing.
Well, it depends. That assembly may be very fragile. And there could be a high chance that the user would damage it. It's going to have to be handled on a case-by-case basis.
No.
Anyway, my final point, if I can finally make it,
No.
is that we're going to have to handle these things case by case. And as for foldables,
I don't
well,
believe
that-
you have to handle them case by case.
Okay, I
because
really
you're
do need to get this
offering-
last point out so that we can get through the segment. Okay. As for foldables, we don't need replacement screens. A, because they are basically functionally impossible to replace. And B, they're flexible displays. How could you possibly break it? There. I
Unless
rest my
there's a
case.
manufacturing defect. Can you fix a folding phone? If a
Me?
user has an issue with it and sends you a folding phone, I'm talking to you as Samsung.
I'm Samsung the character right
Yes.
now. I legitimately don't know.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't know if they'd be able to. They're quite fused.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Okay,
hoping
well,
you knew.
Great points for playing the character of Samsung. I was shaking and angry that whole time. I hate you so much.
Yes.
You did an
Yes.
you did an excellent job embodying Samsung and all of the talking points that I can see them making, which are all disgusting and god damn it.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Yeah, so you certainly get a bunch more points for.
Wow, rude.
Well, I didn't feel like you were Twitter. You didn't make me feel like you were Twitter. Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I don't know. The arguments are weak, and I think I would have preferred to have a take that was why Linus would want to protect his phones. Like if Creator Warehouse made a phone, why you would lock them down with a serial number and ID in the screen.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got to give me a score.
You're getting a 6.
I got a 6.
You got
I
a
win!
6 because
Wow.
I
Wow.
almost cried. Oh, I would just like to fix things.
All right.
What
Thanks,
would,
Dan.
what would it take? What would it take to get like a 9?
Well, let's see. A 9 to me would be your points are.
Because that was pretty. I felt like he had me on the ropes for a little while there,
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
and then I had some ways to throw back. But like, what would he have to do? Like, what would that argument need to look like to be a 9?
I think you would probably have to make a good case for it.
I think it might be impossible inherently because
Yeah.
the segment is
Yeah.
called. Actually, I don't know if I ever told you guys what it's called. It's called
Wheel of
"Defend
Pain.
the Indefensible."
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what the version of the Wheel of Pain is.
So
this
you would
week.
have to actually win Dan over.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily as
To
well,
get
because
a
I have
9.
my own biases. I'm extremely biased against that entire topic, right?
So
But
for
if-
you, there is no 9, basically,
I'm
is
sure
what
there
I'm
could
trying to
be.
get to.
I don't think
if
there should be.
If there was a way,
And that's fine.
I mean, if there was a reason for Linus to come up with that would make sense, like, I don't know, even locking down the batteries. You're not allowed to open your phone because you're going to destroy the battery and
Cause a fire.
You're going to blow up your house.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, liability issues, that sort
Yep.
of thing. There's no eventual argument I think you could find for these topics, and that's
Yeah,
title of the segment.
I think that a well-designed Defend the Indefensible should never have a 9 out of
Something
10
that
or
you
a
can
10 out
pull
of
a
10.
9 out of.
So basically, it comes down to how well you can play the part. I think we absolutely need to set a time limit for next time, or we need to set like a clear like a speaker's baton or whatever.
Yes.
So we can't talk over each other, but there's like a clear. I state my case, you offer your rebuttal. I get to kind of close out my argument, and then the judge decides.
Yeah.
And I think it should take place over a span of like 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I think is a pretty
I
good
think
time.
that's a good idea.
Ferna182 in the Floatplane chat says a 9 should be being so convincing you actually need to punch the other person in the face.
I mean, I was getting there.
The pure patent argument was actually pretty good. I think it was, and I think you had to because you have to follow the points that are being made in the like article or whatever.
Sure.
But once you veered off the purely talking about patents, then it started getting pokeable. But when it's just a patent, it's like, oh yeah, they do actually have.
Well, yeah, it's like that's your patent. So
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, okay. I think you could probably poke holes in that anyway. You could attack the broken patent system.
Oh yeah, I mean it's atrocious. But,
Yeah, I mean, we became aware of a patent that is basically just like attaching RGB LEDs to a particular like product.
You want to know something that's
And I'm
super
sitting here
annoying?
going, well, come on, right? And the legal process for it is either you just make your product, wait for them to sue you, and then countersue, or you have to like go and try and get their patent invalidated. And it's like, okay,
Brutal.
yeah.
Yeah.